Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back into DaBearsDen. I'm your host, Alex, and today I decided I was going to go ahead and rank the NFC North based on position groups. We're going to go through every single position group, take a look, uh, make a tier list, such ranking for all four of the teams, and kind of see really how the NFC North stacks up against each other before we get into this 2024 season. So really kind of excited to get in and do this. I'm doing this live. I haven't gone through this and done it previously. This is just my initial thoughts. I've got the depth charts pulled up here if I need. But we'll go ahead and we'll get into it. So first off, quarterbacks. It's very kind of interesting right now. Um, there's different ways to kind of do this. If you were to look at quarterbacks based on just raw talent, I would want to put Caleb Williams first. Hasn't played a snap in the NFL yet, though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that, going into it right now, I'm going to put Jared Goff first. Just, he's got the experience. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's been deep in the playoffs. He has the experience, knows how to lead a team. Jordan Love, going to put second for now. It pains me to do it, but it's the truth. First half of last season, not great, right? But the second half, and obviously in the playoffs, up until he, threw into triple coverage, ending their season against San Francisco, looked pretty solid. So, I know Green Bay fans are expecting, a really big year. I just got paid big money. I think it's going to be a big mistake, that contract. He had half a good season, okay? And they're handing him out a ton of money. Let's see. I'm going to put Caleb Williams third. Hasn't played a snap yet. I think, like I said, Caleb Williams is probably the most talented quarterback in this division by a mile, but hasn't played a snap yet. So I can't just come out here and be like, yeah, he's the best quarterback in the league because he's a rookie. He's going to have growing pains. There's going to be mistakes, right? And then fourth, Sam Darnold. I'm out on Sam Darnold. Could he have a Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith type bounce back season under Kevin O'Connell and with Justin Jefferson and TJ Hockenson? Absolutely. I don't think that's unfair to kind of think that could happen. I just think that, from what we've seen, he's the worst quarterback in the division. But never know. Up next, running back. So it's interesting. I'm going to go with the Bears. I think that the Bears really have a triple-headed monster. DeAndre Swift, right? One of the best backs in the league, was feasting in Philly, was pretty good in Detroit before they moved off him. You have Khalil Herbert, who, was averaging big yards last year, right? Didn't start all the games, but he's been a very productive runner in Chicago behind some pretty mediocre offensive line play. And then, of course, you have Roshan Johnson, who is going into his second year, and he had a fantastic rookie season, really showed up. Three-headed monster here, so that's going to really cause some problems. Next, Lions could easily put them at first, right? But, three-headed monster versus David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, David Montgomery better than Khalil Herbert. We know that, but I just think the depth that the Bears have is why I put them a little bit higher. But no joke, we know how productive David Montgomery can be. Had a fantastic year last year in Detroit behind their great offensive line. Jahmyr Gibbs is a beast, insane speed, great vision, tough runner. He's a threat, and he scares me when the Bears play the Lions. But I just like the Bears running back group a little bit more. Up next, I'm going Green Bay. Josh Jacobs, good running back, right? You can make the argument maybe top 5 running back, top 10 at least. And they still have A.J. Dillon. I know there's a lot of Packers fans that are out on A.J. Dillon. I don't really want to see him anymore. But, when you have Josh Jacobs, you have a pretty good running back room. And then, Minnesota, they got Aaron Jones. What's he going to look like? He's getting up there in age, had some injuries, was very productive in Green Bay, but getting up there. And then, they got Ty Chandler. And so they're, could Aaron Jones feast? absolutely. But I think, the running back lifespan in the NFL is pretty unkind, and I expect a dip from Aaron Jones's performance and productivity this season. Offensive line, I mean, this one's easy. Detroit's got one of the best offensive lines in the league. With they got Frank Ragnow, you got Penei Sewell, obviously the best tackles in the league. They have Kevin Zeitler and Taylor Decker and Graham Glasgow. I mean, this you could maybe put this as the best offensive line in the league. It's why they were really able to compete and go on such a deep playoff run and get this close to the Super Bowl. It's just pretty simple, right? Second place, I'm gonna put Green Bay. I like their line. No more David Bakhtiari. That's a big loss, but still got big names like Elton Jenkins and Josh Myers. Younger player in Zach Tom. We'll see how he develops. But pretty good offensive line, and you know, I'm a big offensive line person. I think that when you are building a successful team, you need a good offensive line because it helps with the run game. It helps with the play action. Obviously, you help protect quarterback, and a middle of the pack quarterback with an elite offensive line can be much more successful than an elite quarterback and a bad offensive line, right? So offensive line matters. Green Bay they've got some good pieces. Um, I'm gonna put the Bears at third because um, Tevin Jenkins. I think he's a top five guard in the league. I think that Darnell Wright, going into his second year, is going to have an elite season. He showed many, many good things last season. Very excited. I was very excited when we drafted him. I thought Ryan Poles hit that pick right out of the park. And my biggest concern with the Bears is what are we doing at right guard and what are we doing at center? How is that going to look? Because Lucas Patrick is out. Thank you. What's center going to look like? And what are we doing at right guard? Because Nate Davis, I've seen enough. Besides the Chase Claypool trade, I think Ryan Poles' worst move is signing Nate Davis. Um, how is he going to look? But, Braxton Jones has been, he's been very productive for when he was drafted. Pretty solid tackle. Could you potentially upgrade? Sure. But, I'm pretty happy with how he's performed. And so, you know, there's a couple question marks on the line for sure, but I just give them the edge over Minnesota just a little bit. Could flip it, right? Because they got Darisaw, who's a fantastic tackle, and they got some other pieces as well. Garrett Bradbury, one of the better centers in the league, but they have some holes as well. So I'm just gonna give the Bears the edge there, just because of left and right tackles and Tevin Jenkins. Up next, wide receiver. Man, wide receiver room. See, this is a tough one, right? Because it's like if I do it based off of how I ranked the running back room, then it's the Bears because I think Rome is going to be fantastic. I mean, this is probably the deepest wide receiver position group like in the division, like off all four teams. There's weapons everywhere. I'm gonna put Minnesota at first here. Justin Jefferson, probably the best receiver in the league. And they got Jordan Addison as well. After that, not a ton of great receivers, but I think when you have a receiver like Justin Jefferson, it's gonna draw double and triple teams, and you're gonna have guys open up. You have a fantastic number two in Jordan Addison, so these other guys can come out there. They can get open based on the top corners having to follow JJ around. That means something, right? Second, this is a tough one. I'm going with the Bears. I think DJ Moore is one of the most underrated receivers in the league. Bears fans listening would agree. Keenan Allen, probably a first ballot Hall of Famer, has done incredible things in his time in Chargers. Question marks about how he's going to look this season, but if he does anything remotely close to what he did next year, I mean, that's 2,000-yard receivers right there with DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, assuming Caleb Williams can come in and play. And then you have Rome Odunze, who I am so incredibly high on. I think that he's going to, really kind of burst into this league, kind of similarly to how Jamar Chase did. I think that he's going to have such a fantastic rookie season. He's not going to have a rookie season as good as that because he's not going to be the number one guy. But I think very quickly, Bears are going to identify that this kid is legit. He is a serious threat, and he's getting the ball a lot. I'm very high on this kid. I think he's going to be an elite receiver in the league, and we will be paying him big money in a few years. And so for that reason, I have the Bears at 2. 3, I mean, it has to be Detroit, right? With Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams. I mean, it's a pretty good duo, right? Amon-Ra, I think, is slightly overrated, and I promise you that's not just bias against the Detroit Lions because I gave Minnesota their credit. I just think that, if you put in front of me for my fantasy team, I get to pick DJ Moore or Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'm taking DJ Moore every single time. Every single time. Is Amon-Ra a fantastic receiver? Absolutely, no question. But I've also seen him get clamped by Jalen Johnson. Okay. Khalif Raymond, they have Jameson Williams, speed threat. I think he's going to be pretty good this year. I think he's going to be good. And so, pretty good core, deep core. This is a hard position group to rank, right? And then Green Bay, it's like, oh, they're last in the division. Christian Watson, can he stay healthy? That's a big question mark for their wide receiver 1. Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, saw some pretty decent things from him last year. I know Packers fans were very happy with him. Then they have, Davian Wicks and Bo Melton. So they've got some guys. There's probably they probably have the deepest wide receiver room, I would say. Because, with Minnesota, it's a big drop-off after Jordan Addison. With the Bears, it's pretty big drop-off after Rome Odunze, right? Like, you're looking at, like, Tyler Scott, Dante Pettis, Bayless Jones. It's pretty not great. Detroit's pretty deep, but they've got the deepest wide receiver room for sure. So it's very tough ranking. Absolutely open to hearing, who should be moved around and where. I get it. That's a tough one. Tight end room. It's tight ends pretty tough. I think I'm putting the Bears first because I just think Cole Kmet he's not the best tight end 1 in the division, but I think having Gerald Everett in the room and then a really fantastic veteran with Mercedes Lewis it just gives me that edge. It gives them that edge a little bit, right? Like, is Sam Laporta probably better than Cole Kmet? Probably on most days, yes. But after that, their room is right. So I think Gerald Everett, Cole Kmet, Mercedes Lewis, that's the best tight end room in the division. I'm going to put Detroit next. Sam Laporta, obviously a beast, had a fantastic season last year. They have Brock Wright as well, who was, who can be productive. So it's a pretty good room, but I just don't think it's as good as Chicago's. Third, PJ Hawkinson, right? I think Detroit really kind of lucked out because I thought they were crazy trading Hawkinson in the division. Obviously they got Laporta, but it's a TJ Hawkinson's quite good. Joshua, they have Robert Tonyan. I did not know that. He's the 4th tight end on their depth chart. Man, Robert Tonyan's just flying through the NFC North, isn't he? And then finally Green Bay, Musgrave, decent, right? Tucker Kraft, meh, okay, not bad. But weeks of the division for sure. I think that Musgrave will probably have a decent season this year, but weakest for sure. Cornerback room. I mean, this is Man, I mean, I'm looking at these depth charts right now. There's there's some guys. There's some guys in this division for sure. There's some guys, and the Bears are first. Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, Tyler Gordon. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys have heard the stat, but for all the targets that Jalen Johnson got last year, the receiver that Jalen Johnson was covering, if the quarterback's throwing just threw the ball into the dirt the entire game, they would have had a better passer rating than they would have had throwing towards Jalen Johnson. Best quarterback in the league, top two if you don't really like that. Tyreek Stevenson, fantastic rookie season. I think that he was, he should have been a true contender for defensive rookie of the year. Kyler Gordon, beast, turnovers, sacks, can do it all. Stacked cornerback room. Next, Detroit. I mean, you look at Detroit, Carlton Davis, Terry Arnold. They got some guys. Former Bear Kendall Vildor. Pretty good. It's a pretty good room, right? I don't have a ton to say. Amico Robertson, Emmanuel Mosley. They've got some guys. They have some depth. And it's not bad, right? The Bears receivers don't care, but it's a pretty decent room. Packers fans are going to be mad. I'm going to put Minnesota. And here's why. I don't think that the Stephon Gilmore trade is going to do anything for them. I think he'll be getting cooked by pretty much all the receivers in the division. But still, fantastic player. Shaq Griffin, pretty good. Byron Murphy, older, but pretty good. Fabian Moreau, we know. They've got some guys in Minnesota, right? So it's a decent room. And then Green Bay, of course, Jair Alexander, who I think is one of the most overrated cornerbacks in the league. I mean, if you're one of the top rated cornerbacks in the league, you should not be getting cooked on a double move by N'Keal Harry, okay? Or by Equanimous St. Brown. What do I know? Okay, but some people think he's one of the best corners in the league. Fine, whatever. Eric Stokes, he I think he had a pick against the Bears last year. So, he's definitely a guy. Keyshawn Nixon, these are names, these are guys. Not bad players by any means. They don't stack up compared to the rest of the division, in my eyes. Safeties. This is where I need to kind of take a look. This is the position that I mean, Detroit's got to be first with Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. I mean, Brian Branch last year had such a fantastic debut. Really put in work. Kirby Joseph is, like an anchor back there for the Lions defense. It's a pretty scary safety room for sure. This is a tough room. Like this one's pretty tough too. You got Javon Bullard and Xavier McKinney on Green Bay, Harrison Smith and Cam Bynum on Minnesota. Not a Harrison Smith fan at all. I think he's a dirty player. But I'm putting. Damn, this one's hard. This is tough. I think. I mean, Harrison Smith had a pretty rough year. I'm pretty sure last season. I'm putting. I want to put the Bears second because Jaquan Brisker is fantastic, and Kevin Byard is aging, but he's been an elite safety for years. This before you guys come for me in the comments, this is probably the position group that I'm struggling to rank the most. Oh man. Cam Bynum's pretty good. I'm gonna put Green Bay, and then I'm gonna put Minnesota, and that's it. We're gonna move on because I'm struggling with that one. Up next, D line. This is it's easy in the fact that I think I have the Bears last. I think. I mean, okay, so I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna put. Man, this is tough. Doing this live is tough. Thinking this can go either way. I'm gonna go with Detroit because of how good Aiden Hutchinson is. They've got DJ Reader, Marcus Davenport. It's pretty scary up front, right? I'm gonna go Green Bay next. I think that one's pretty. It's a pretty no-brainer, right? With Preston Smith, Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary, DJ Slayton. Like those are guys. Those are guys that have dominated our offensive line here in Chicago for quite a bit. And then I'm gonna go Minnesota. No, I'm not gonna go Minnesota. I'm going Bears third. Man, that Minnesota D line is pretty terrible. I know that it was. I remember seeing that it got their roster got gashed right when they lost to Neil Hunter. Damn, they're they are weak there at D line for sure. And with the Bears, obviously you got Montez Sweat and Javon Dexter, who should have a really good second year, and we're gonna see what Austin can do. But for me, D line is the weakest part for the Bears right now. It's like the spot with the biggest hole, besides like right guard. Like can't do we have another edge rusher on the team, or are we gonna have to go try and get someone in this season? We'll find out. Linebackers, this one's easy. This one's easy. Bears first. T.J. Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds, Jackson Sanborn. You're like, I'm not going to argue with anyone. If you have a problem with that, argue with a wall. I don't want to hear about Quay Walker, right? I don't want to hear about Alex Anzalone, who's a dirty player, or Jack Campbell. Like, easy, right? Like, Bears linebacking core is fantastic. Minnesota has Van Ginkel now. I did not know that. Mm-hmm. Um, Detroit's got Derek Barnes, Anzalone, who I don't like, but Jack Campbell, pretty good linebacking core. Um, they caused some problems for us last year. Damn, where do I want to put? I mean, like Quay Walker is pretty good. I'm gonna put Green Bay last year. I just think like Van Ginkel's pretty good. Ivan Pace Jr. is pretty good. I mean, like Quay Walker's like good when he's not getting ejected from the games, but like other than that, there's really nothing crazy there in Green Bay. And then special teams, I mean, we know who's last, right? Everyone watching should know who's last. It's been like this for years, but Green Bay is going to be last. Bears first. Kyra Santos, one of the most accurate kickers in the league, right? Torrey Taylor, the crocodile punter. He's going to be a serious weapon for the Bears, and that's that. I mean, Minnesota, like we're gonna put Detroit second. Jake Bates, Jack Fox. Like okay. Um, Minnesota third, Green Bay fourth. Green Bay's always got the worst division. Worst special teams in the division. That's just the way it goes. When I was at the game at Lambeau this past year in January, when the Bears had a chance to prevent Green Bay from going to the playoffs, all the Packers fans around me were telling me how they wanted Anders Carlson gone. He was terrible. They did not want to have him on the team anymore. They needed a new kicker. They were afraid that he was going to cost them in the playoffs. And, that's the way it is. Just the position rankings, guys. Let me know what you think down below. What did I get right? What do you dislike? Is there any group here that you hate my ranking? I think, it's pretty good. Could you switch, running back? Sure, absolutely. But you know, I'm seeing right now that I don't have the Bears last in anything. I guess I don't have Detroit last in anything either. I don't have Green Bay the best at anything. But, you know, that's you could maybe switch Jared Goff and Jordan Love. But, you know, like I proposed earlier, if I was a GM and, you give me Jared Goff or Jordan Love as my week 1 starter, who am I picking? I'm picking Jared Goff because Jordan Love had the highs last season, but he also had the lows. So we'll see what happens this year. This is my ranking. I did this live. Like I said, I did not do this before. This was all live. That's why I was taking some time looking at the depth chart. But I appreciate you guys hanging out in the den with me this evening, or this afternoon, or this morning, whenever you're watching. As always, please go ahead, give this video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Really helps out the channel, helps me kind of grow this fan base. I really enjoy making these videos, and I would love to get to do it for the long run. So if you enjoy this video, this content, please go ahead and consider subscribing. It would really, truly mean a lot to me. And, I do really enjoy talking with you guys. With that being said, go ahead and check out on Twitter. I'm pretty big in the Chicago Bears Twitter section. Shy Sports Alex, go ahead. I'm always live tweeting during the games and the NFL weeks. So come hang out with me there. I will be supporting players, ripping on teams, getting into it with Packers fans. That's what we do as Bears fans. But thank you guys for being here, hanging out with me. I appreciate you guys. And as always, bear down. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.